Even if you start with General Ross, and if you don't remember who he is, he's the villain from the first part. But we see him after he changes. He nominated himself for the American presidential elections. As you know, he won the election and became president of America, despite his criminal past and villainous reputation before taking office. All the decisions get lost in his old sport where he fought Hulk. But either way, the movie isn't really different from reality. In the film, America is run by a criminal, and in reality, it's run by a criminal too. Anyway, it doesn't really matter to us. The important thing is to stay away from all that. We see President Ross on television saying that he killed him along with Hulk forever, and that he was the reason he lost his daughter. During this period, he reflects and transforms into a new person, reaching a turning point. 5 months later, the new Captain America, Sam, formerly Falcon, is on a recovery mission in Mexico. Steve Rogers had handed Sam the shield in Endgame. His father called from Japan, and President Reza personally assigned him this mission. At that moment, Sam attacks the criminals from the sky, beating them with his wings. Captain America's shield is present, and Falcon's suit has been upgraded with a new shield gifted by his country and Canada after numerous battles. Sam chases after gang leader Jardin Schill, but Schill sends a strong henchman to attack and slow down Sam. Jardin attempts a solo escape while Sam battles and defeats the strongman. Reinforcements arrive, apprehend the criminal, and recover the device before their getaway with assistance. There was a guy named Koken, and he was kind of like a Falcon back in the day. Anyway, unfortunately, Jardin manages to escape before they can catch him. After that, Sam takes Koken to a fighter named OG, so that Koken can learn martial arts, since OG used to be a boxer. He was very famous and retired after the United States experimented on him, making him superhuman and ruining his life, as seen in the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier. After training, Sam gets a call from Ross. When OG becomes upset, Sam gets angry and leaves. Sam goes after OG to find out why he's upset. It's because Sam is working with Ross, who is wanted. The President of the United States was responsible for OG's imprisonment as a youth, which ended his career. OG resents the government for 2 reasons, but Sam warns him that Ross is the most pressing danger as he called to invite him. Sam insists OG join them at a party at the White House that Ross invited them to. OG, Joaquin, and Sam go to the White House and enter Ross's office, where he welcomes Sam. He thanks him for retrieving the package and tells him he brought him here to build a new team of Avengers. Sam asks, "Avengers? What's with that strange name? Don't you realize that they're all either dead or have retired after that?" In the final part of Captain America: Civil War, the American government's actions left them feeling abandoned and betrayed. Sam refuses to join the Avengers at first, because if they return under Ross's leadership, he will control the team, and they're supposed to convince the agents like Sam, so of course Sam refuses at first. But Ross tells him to think about it and leaves him for a while and goes up to the event. After that, Sam follows him and meets the Japanese Prime Minister, whose name is Yuzaki, who thanks Sam. They retrieve their capsule and take a picture together. Afterwards, they enter the conference hall where Ross explains to the audience what the much-talked-about capsule really is. Aslan. In the movie Eternals, a giant emerged in the Indian Ocean, threatening to destroy the planet. The Eternals intervened and saved the day. At that time, all nations worldwide raced to discover this being. After extensive research, a metal called Adamantium was discovered, which was even stronger than vibranium. Japan was the first country to obtain a sample of this metal. In the mission that turned my world upside down, I nearly lost my life for the first time, but thankfully, I made it back safely due to Sam and Koken. During that time, Bruce kept praising them. They were calling him at that time. All the countries of the world wanted to unite and make a treaty with him, that they would gather the adamantium metal together and use it for peaceful purposes, without any single country having it exclusively. You might have missed that the adamantium in Wolverine's claws is the same metal originally injected into his body. Before he finishes his sentence, OG enters, hitting the son and holding a gun, threatening to shoot him in the head, claiming he didn't come with good intentions. For his part, he agreed at that moment to go to the White House to kill him, nothing more, nothing less. The important thing is that Sam immediately gets into a fight with OG during the meeting. Everything literally turns into hell, and every president or minister grabs onto the person next to him because of what's happening. 5 of them, including Iyuzaki and OG, plan to kill the Russians themselves. The Russian warns, "You're handing yourselves over with this stupid move." With Kawakin's help, he escapes, and Kasam pursues OG. And he manages to convince him to surrender, because OG was probably just emotional, and only wanted to threaten the Russians, not actually kill them. The important thing is that OG surrenders. And at that moment, Sam goes to the Russians to convince them that OG wasn't in his right mind when he attacked them. He believes someone is controlling him, and asks the Russians to investigate. The Russians respond, "What are you talking about? Did you think you were Roger Zala the Sword? Or are you just a coward? You're not getting out of here. Your son is staying like a girl." No, he literally told him that. But away from that, he says, "From our side, we sentence him to the death penalty." His friend Sam visited him and asked, "Why did you do that?" Ojib attempted to explain that he truly wasn't an intercessor, that he was at home, and on one occasion he chased after himself when he tried to assassinate the president, and that if Sam really wanted to help him, he had to leave and never come back so he wouldn't get hurt by the president. As Sam returned to the car, Jardine suddenly emerged with a machine gun, shooting at Sam. The car exploded with Sam inside, but being the hero, he survived unscathed. A lengthy fight then ensued between Sam and Jardine, while we find out that when the buyer couldn't buy his eye on time, she intervened. Sam offered to pay Jardine double if Jardine killed him. After a lengthy fight, Sam knocked Jardine unconscious. He answers his ringing phone to the unknown buyer, who says, "Ha ha ha, bravo, Eva. You have the chip and that's fine, it's not my business." Anyway, Sam was taking the phone and asking his brother, "Can you tell where the call is coming from?" After some searching, they discover he's in a military base and prison called Akkowan, from which no one returns. Sam checks his watch, says, "That's the one," puts on his suit, grabs his bag, and heads to Akkowan. They contact someone inside. There, they find no prisoners in the prison, but they discover his watch. A peculiar lab with pictures of soldiers who underwent experiments hanging on the wall. When they hear a specific song, they switch channels and say, "Present, but only temporarily." It's similar to Zowenta, who had to follow orders or do something alike when told a certain phrase. That's the crucial aspect. During her shift, Sam and his brother are in the lab when the villain Samuel Stardat enters. Let's just call him Samuel. The key point is that he informs Sam that Ross imprisoned him in the lab for 16 years, exploiting his intelligence and coercing him to conduct experiments until his mind essentially deteriorated from excessively engaging with Jamma's poetry. And in fact, Ross never took a step without consulting him. Even though Ross knew he was obsessed with Zainab, he still locked him up and sentenced him to death. So basically, he's just trying to convince Sam that Ross is a tough person and that he's just taking what's rightfully his, nothing more. But at that moment, Sam also wants to attack Samuel, who orders the mind-controlled soldiers to assault Sam and his brother until he escapes, after an intense fight with blows from all directions. And Betty G, the president's assistant, now convinced of Sam's innocence and Ross's wrongdoing, helps Sam and his brother escape. However, they find the army waiting to arrest them at the entrance on Ross's personal orders. But suddenly the music starts playing, so the soldiers start shooting at them to kill them. But Sam, his brother, and the assistant manage to escape. During that time, we see Ross in Japan because he's trying to get Japan to agree to participate with everyone. But she refuses because of the problems in America. At that hour, Ross tells them, "Okay, fine, strong." And he tells his soldiers to send ships and planes to that huge place and take full control of the area. Because as long as there is only one country that wants to use the adamantium, that country will be America. The new substance reminded Sam of oil. Sam interrogates Jordan, who reveals that Smoa challenged him using Bruce Banner's blood. Contrary to expectations, he didn't become strong and muscular. Instead, he became very smart, and his mind turned into a calculating machine. Unfortunately, when Ross saw this, he increased the dose to further control him and have him build devices and weapons for the state. He promised to release him from prison if elected president. Samuel believed Ross, who later betrayed him, so Samuel got what he deserved, correct? He said yes, and Karn was like, whatever. The important thing is that Karn wanted to take down Rosa by breaking off his relationship with Japan. Due to the immense pressure, he will revert to his villainous ways, causing everyone, including his daughter, to despise him forever. So, did Sakin's clock pass over the Indian Ocean? Before its time, there was a war between America and Japan. And at that time, he talks to the president for a bit. And after a while, under some pressure, he finds out from him that the head was basically dying and the clock would stop like that several times. So at that time, he asked Abu Samuel to work on it during the harvest. The pills Samuel provided kept the head alive. So the head couldn't risk releasing Samuel. If Samuel stopped making the pills, the head would certainly die. He needed to live and achieve glory, to change his image and reconnect with his estranged daughter, who had gradually cut him off completely. There's a lot of this self-development talk. He keeps repeating what they say. There are 2 American planes attacking the Japanese destroyer. And of course, I don't need to tell you that the person controlling them is Sam. So the war can start between the 2 countries in the first place. So, Captain America and Akukin go after the 2 planes to stop them. And on the other side, Japan starts launching missiles as well. So, Captain America and Akukin are trying to stop the planes a bit and catch up with the Japanese missiles a bit. But during all this, we see Russo under a lot of pressure, and his heartbeat starts to increase. Besides, Samuel hacked the headphones and kept breathing into them, and he was about to give in to his anger. But he managed to hold on until the last moment. And he says he got help from his assistant. She spoke to the Japanese boss and gave him the phone to fix the situation after the violence. Sam's assistant was upset and yelled because his plan failed. While Sam was at the hospital due to Joaquin's injury, his assistant was seen crying. Baki visited Sam at the hospital, and they began talking and negotiating, because Sam feels it. Peter feels the responsibility is too great for him, as he lacks true power like Baki or Captain America, and sees himself as a failure in his first mission. Baki is a failure, but he occasionally makes random remarks about humanity. However, these words don't benefit him, so he simply moves on. Ross assembles the leaders of Japan, India, and France to discuss the recent events. During those hours, Sam sits in the garden for fresh air, but occasionally gets bored. And Lou, who acts kind of like Boris, tells him that he wants to turn himself in, and that actually his situation is just not much more than that. But then he realizes what happened and occasionally visits Ross, who is under pressure from tough questions, making the team more tense. Samuel's arrest was announced, which he chose due to the loud noise at that moment, and he exposes Ross in front of everyone. And when they tried at that moment, they hear his voice and rush to Ross to hide him inside the White House. But at that moment, Ross starts to lose his breath and gets angry at them because he keeps telling them, calm down, Red, calm down." And basically, they are determined to enter the White House. When Samuel tries, he tells Ross that his daughter will hate him, as Ross can't control himself. On that day, his watch transformed into Red Hulk, and he was ready to go down and crush the guards' heads, turning them to dough, essentially. Captain America, now Sam, arrives and initiates a major battle involving 2 or 3 of them together. Sam's attempts to calm him down backfire as the army's attacks only fuel his rage, leaving Sam to face the consequences alone when they flee. And of course, no one is able to stop Red Hulk to the point that he completely destroys the entire White House, God willing. And at that moment, Sam gets so frustrated that he holds his head. He was about to crush it like a tomato. At the last moment, he remembers his daughter and the need to calm down, to change for the better. Upon remembering her, he starts to calm down, returning to his normal form as Cross, and is then taken to the hospital. Meanwhile, he was acquitted after it was proven that he wasn't at the scene in the first place. Unfortunately, Ross is back in prison due to his actions while incarcerated and his prior convictions. During Sam's visit to Ross, it's revealed that Sam had been putting university drugs in Ross's pills to reduce his anger episodes. That's why Ross will need to stay in prison for a good while, until he's sure he can fully control himself. In the final scene, Ross's daughter visits him in prison, forgives him, and sees him as a hero despite his actions. It's a forgettable movie. That concludes the story you experienced with your friend.
The story.